The Secretary General of the ANC, fellow members of the National Executive Committee, the SABC, New Age, and all guests and protocol is observed. The upcoming National Policy Conference of the ANC is a very important event, not only for the ANC, but for all South Africans. The National Policy Conference will be a forum of over 4,000 delegates from across the length and breadth of this land, men and women, poor and rich, rural and urban, young and old, who will gather over 4 days to debate, to deliberate, and engage on all of the policy discussion documents before the ANC and our nation. For the ANC, this policy conference is a step towards its 53rd National Conference in Mangaung from the 16th to the 20th of December. Like all national conferences, the Mangaung Conference will review and decide on policy, deliberate on organizational matters, and also elect the ANC leadership for the next 5 years. The Mangaung Conference will also be the culmination of the year-long centenary celebrations of the ANC and will be taking place 2 years before South Africa celebrates its second decade of freedom. A process for all South Africans. As we know, early this year, we released our 12 discussion documents for debate in ANC branches and structures and for public comment. We did this because we understand that the policy position of our organization impact directly on the lives of all South Africans. We therefore take this opportunity to thank different sectors of society, including the media, that have debated and expressed views on the documents of the ANC. We would also encourage all South Africans to read and engage with these documents if they have not as yet done so. We reflect also on the past and looking forward. The overriding policy of the ANC is its strategy and tactics, which encapsulates its vision for the country, its character as a movement, and its political program. This discussion on strategy and tactics is contained in the document, The Second Transition, Building a National Democratic Society. This document raises critical matters for debate, and I will merely summarize them here. Firstly, in reviewing the last 18 years since our political transition of 1994, we do acknowledge 3 monumental achievements, namely, the creation of a non-racial, democratic, and united political order, institutions and policy for this country, including our Constitution. The foundations that have been laid in such areas as housing, water and sanitation, access to health care, social security and education, and the improvements in the economy, which after nearly 30 years of economic stagnation grew and created jobs until the global financial crisis in 2008. Despite these monumental achievements, we acknowledge as the ANC the triangle of poverty, unemployment, and inequality that constitute persistent fault lines that, unless decisively addressed, will reverse the gains we've made during the first 2 decades. In building a national democratic society, we draw from the ANC strategy and tactics of 2007 and reaffirm our firm commitment to a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. The vision of such a country is described in this document as a national democratic society with the following features: a society founded on the best in human civilization in terms of political and human freedoms, socio-economic rights, value systems, and identity. It is a democracy with a social content based on the needs of the poor and the vulnerable at the top of the national agenda. A mixed, inclusive, and growing economy with an active role for the state in economic life alongside an expanding and inclusive private, cooperative and community sector. Pursuit of full employment and decisively tackling youth unemployment, and the quest for consistent equality, social justice, and a caring society. Strong partnership with the trade union movement and other social partners. And of course, the promotion of regional integration, the African Renaissance, and international solidarity. In order to achieve such a society, we need to ensure the building consensus around a vision and a national development plan South Africa for the next 2 decades, using the National Planning Commission's diagnostic report and its draft plan as a basis for further discussion. And also asking ourselves the question, how do we ensure that South Africa in 2030 is a qualitatively different country than what we have today? And addressing the vesting question of economic policy so that we take decisive steps to foster inclusive and higher levels of growth, ensure industrialization based on our own national endowments, land and agrarian reform, addressing the infrastructure backlogs, and create new social and economic infrastructure, and also increasing the levels of savings and investment in the South African economy. In articulating the role of the state in economic development and achieving the goals of the second transition, we propose leveraging state-owned enterprises, development finance institutions and entities as catalysts in the achievements of the goals of the second transition. Conscientizing companies and entities where it holds shares to be part of this major paradigm shift, and partnering with the private sector in public-private partnerships ventures to unlock economic potential that will benefit the paradigm shift. We will be seized with many issues which dominate the current economic debate, such as the land issue as a very important asset through which most economic activities are mitigated. Proposals on the table include a land valuer general to provide fair and consistent values for rating and tax purposes, determine financial compensation in cases of land expropriation, the Land Management Commission to advise, undertake research, and develop guidelines on land management in South Africa. The mineral sector, whose importance in South African economy cannot be underestimated. Some of the proposals on the table include the resources rent tax on return on investments, service delivery as a parameter of our success going into the future. The national health insurance, which will ensure a healthy nation to achieve the goals of this paradigm shift, as well as progress on the discussion of all these issues, should be towards the central objectives of creating decent jobs and ensuring that we move towards full employment by 2030. The importance of the emancipation of women is highlighted in the gender discussion document. The intention is to re-examine the progress made by the ANC towards its commitment to a non-sexist society within the organization and our stated transformation agenda, as well as influencing gender-based practices in our continent. Among the priorities is the speedy publication of the Gender Equality Bill, which advocates a 50-50 parity in the public and private sector. These are some of the proposals for youth development to improve education and schools to prepare our young people for the world of work, in particular in grade 12 skills development programs, the internships and apprentice programs. Behavioral change and life skills components that are aimed at increasing awareness in relation to substance abuse and pregnancy, as well as HIV and AIDS. Job seekers grant that must be linked to compulsory skills programs. In conclusion, since their release this year, all these policy discussion documents are discussion papers. No policy position has been taken. this way or the other. There will be contesting views and opinions. Only the power of persuasion will carry the day. There will be no holy cows in the presentation of these views. After the policy conference, there will be further opportunities for ANC structures and the public to comment on the draft resolutions before they finally are presented at Mangaung in December for final adoption. The power to adopt or modify the draft resolutions will lie with the delegates of the 53rd National Conference in Mangaung. And until they've done so, all existing policies of the ANC remain in place. I thank you.